There are certain games you love playing so much, you just can't help but to play them again. Or in FIFA's case for me, keep playing them forever. Damn you, FIFA. Unfortunately though, most games don't give a strong enough reason to go back to them once that platinum's popped. That's the case for me anyway, and I'm assuming for a majority of the trophy hunters out there. So in this video, I want to talk about 8 games that I would gladly platinum again if I ever had the chance to. I probably should have made this video when I reached 100 platinums, but I was still super high from the dopamine of popping the Devil May Cry 5 platinum. And boy, was that a journey. Anyway, here we are a year later, making up for lost time. Now, before we start with our list, I have some honorable mentions that only didn't make the list because there are or have been confirmed sequels that will most likely have the same sort of trophy list. If they don't, then, you know, comment down below and tell me I'm an idiot. Now, first one is Marvel's Spider-Man. This is a wonderful Spider-Man game. I'll go as far as to say it's the best Spider-Man game to date that I've played, but with the announcement of Marvel's Spider-Man 2, I'll just wait to play that instead. I also still need to play Spider-Man Miles Morales, courtesy of the gift that Chad Bro sent over to me. God of War 2018 is another masterpiece that I thoroughly enjoyed platinuming, and again, with the recent release of Ragnarok, I can only assume the lists are going to be pretty similar, so I'll just save myself for that. And finally, Ratchet and Clank. It's just an incredibly fun platformer that I absolutely love platinuming, and again, with Rift Apart being out, I'll just play that instead. Now drop my beat! Keep in mind this list is in no particular order. First game I'm talking about today is The Amazing Spider-Man. I played this game back in 2014 and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Although it's based on the Amazing Spider-Man movie, the story is set after the events of the film, which made it a lot more interesting. Looking back now, I realize the game isn't the best thing in the world, especially when compared to Marvel's Spider-Man, like comparing Vegeta and Goku's win ratio. But the unique story had me hooked. It's an open world action adventure game with collectibles, side quests, and combat related trophies. Pretty much everything you'd expect from a Spider-Man game. And of course, because it is a Spider-Man game, I just couldn't put it down. Platinum itself isn't that hard. I'd say it's a 3, maybe a 4 out of 10, so pretty chill. There are difficulty related trophies, but the hardest difficulty isn't that hard in my opinion. Just be stealthy. I very highly doubt this game will be remastered or re-released, so it's unlikely I'll have the chance to platinum it again. Second on the list is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Now this game is an amazing experience. I've been saying for ages that all I want is for the Lord of the Rings: Return of the King to be remastered or even remade, but at the time this was as close as I was gonna get, even though both games are completely different. I played this game back in 2014 and man was I blown away. It's an open world action adventure game set between the events of The Hobbit and the Fellowship of the Ring, but the main unique mechanic is the Nemesis system, which basically creates a real world feel because the random enemies you encounter remember who you are throughout your time in the game.
We both want to kill each other, so one of us will be dead, and I think it will be me.
Hello from the other side.
You can basically take over an Uruk and manipulate their way up in the army ranks, which is awesome. If you die or run away from one of the Uruk, it'll throw shade your way the next time you meet, just like talking to an ex when you see them after a while.
You've come back to me. I knew you couldn't stop yourself.
It's such a great mechanic that I hope more games will be able to implement it one day. The trophy list itself is a solid 3 out of 10, so not hard at all, and the trophies are very enjoyable to pop. Not as enjoyable as popping an Uruk's head, but pretty close. Trophies themselves are also pretty straightforward. There are miscellaneous ones, combat related ones, collectibles, and my personal favorite, popping the heads of all 5 war chiefs at the same time. So satisfying. There was an unobtainable trophy at one point, but the devs patched the game so that you can get the platinum. What a bunch of legends. This game, in my opinion, is much better than its sequel, and if I could, I would definitely platinum it again in a heartbeat. Third game today is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, one of my favorite games of all time, which is no secret. Don't think this game needs any introductions, but for those of you that have been living in a cave for the past 7 years, I'll explain it to you. An open world RPG with an incredible story, unique side quests, and a minigame called Gwent, more addictive than heroin. Seriously, this game is so addictive they made a standalone game out of it. Anyway, the trophy list isn't the easiest because it has those annoying missables and a trophy attached to the very well designed difficulty related trophy. But it's not as hard as you'd expect. It's seen as a 7 out of 10 because of Deathmatch, but personally I only agree with that for the first 10 to 20 hours or so. After you become familiar with the game mechanics and skills, it drops down to about a 5 out of 10 at the most. On a side note, I think Deathmatch is the best difficulty to play the game because it forces you to become a witcher rather than an overpowered god that can just slice through anything and anyone. And don't we all want to become stinky, grumpy, sterile, monster hunting badasses with cat eyes? I know I do. I played this game for the first time back in 2015, but didn't platinum it. Shocking, I know. However, when the Game of the Year edition came out, I instantly bought it to make up for my failure. Unbeknownst to me, the trophy list was separate from the original game, which means it's part of my unfinished backlog, which also means I'm playing this game at the minute. God, it's so good. You never know, might even make a trophy guide for it. Fourth game on the list is Nier Automata. The main reason I want to platinum this game again is because I just want to look up 2B's skirt. I'm a simple man. I see an extremely well rendered butt, including the definition in the stockings. I'm instantly hooked. Now, this game isn't all about the perfectly shaped butt and legs. It's also a very good game. The story is intriguing and it's a ton of fun to play. An open world game with a beautiful soundtrack, but I'm not quite sure what type of game it is. Some say it's an action RPG, but it feels more like Platinum Games were making something with all the ingredients that I had left in the cupboard just before a food shopping day. There's hack and slash, mechanical suit fights, hacking, 3D camera, 2D camera, and of course self-destruction to reveals 2B's best asset. God bless Platinum Games. The trophy list is only a 3 out of 10, and you don't even have to meet any of the requirements for them. All you have to do is play through the game 3 times to get the true ending, spend as little money as possible, and then just buy all the trophies from the store to pop the platinum. You heard me. Buy the trophies. With in-game currency, no less. Just that alone is worth platinuming this game again. And, you know, also 2B's butt. Fifth game on the list is none other than Bloodborne. Another one of my favorite games of all time, and an absolute must-play for every PlayStation owner. The From Software games are expected to break you harder than when Viggo Mortensen broke his toe by kicking a real helmet, thinking it was a prop on the set of Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. But with a bit of patience and dedication, it'll be like you never struggled. This is a Souls-like RPG with similar mechanics, except you don't have a shield. All about aggressive combat, and my Celestial is the combat satisfying. A well-timed parry followed by a visceral attack just feels epic. And that sound effect is more satisfying than finding out that meme you posted offending the specific people it was targeted at. Anyway, the world is incredibly well done. It's creepy and horrific, but beautiful at the same time. It's like going to a second world country on holiday. You like being there, but you wouldn't want to move there. The trophy list is fairly simple if you can decode the very vague descriptions. It's only a 7 out of 10 because of the difficulty of the game itself, and maybe because of the Cursed Chalice dungeon. But like I said, after mastering the mechanics, it'll feel much, much easier. Plus, now you're even able to skip that horrible dungeon, and you can play co-op. Instant win. This was a game that made me rage quit for about 8 months back in 2017, but once I stopped being a little bitch and dedicated some time to it, it became the love of my life. Sorry, Emma. If they ever release Bloodborne for the PS5, or even a separate trophy list for the PS4, I would instantly pick it up to pop that sweet, sweet platinum again. Sixth on the list is another From Software game, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. This is another amazing masterpiece. Although this is classed as a Souls-like, the gameplay is anything but. If you go into this game as if you're playing a Souls game, you'll get slammed harder than Lana Rhodes on a Brazzers set. Sekiro is an open world RPG with super satisfying combat when you master it. All about parrying here, and when you pull it off properly, it's like listening to a professional orchestra. The trophy list is a 7 out of 10, again because of the difficulty of the game itself, but just like Bloodborne, once you master the mechanics, it becomes a lot easier. You do have to play through the game multiple times, but after your first run, you can pretty much just speed run through the game and just kill the mandatory bosses. The trophies aren't that hard to decipher, and for the most part are quite straightforward. Sekiro was a game that had the potential to make me rage quit, but in 2019, I was a much more committed trophy hunter, so I didn't. This is a gem I would platinum again in a heartbeat if I had the chance. Seventh game today is Persona 5, and this is probably surprise to you because of how much I say I'm still bit out from the trophy guide I made, but it's an incredible JRPG that I just couldn't leave out. If you like JRPGs, you should definitely play this game. It's a turn-based Pokemon-like game where you do technically catch Personas and use them in battle. The story is really good with a few twists and turns here and there, and the fact you have to stick to a limited schedule because of school makes it a unique experience. It just feeds your denial that you're getting old. Persona 5 is an incredibly stylish game from the visuals to the soundtrack. The trophy list itself is only a 3 out of 10, so not too difficult, and if you use my guide, it'll be even easier. It can be very grindy though, depending on your luck. There are a few RNG based trophies which make it slightly annoying. All in all, it is a game I highly recommend, and of course a game that I would platinum again. I doubt another version of this game will be released again because Persona 5 Royal is a thing, which is a much more complete version of the game, not to mention it has an easier trophy list. I don't see Persona 5 being remastered or re-released. And now the final game in this list is Ghost of Tsushima, and what a game this is. I platinumed this game in 2021. Most of you would have already played this game, so you know how good it is. It's set on Tsushima Island in feudal Japan during the Mongol invasion, and let me tell you, they mastered the samurai combat to a T here. Every movement looks and feels like you're a genuine samurai. And then, you know, later on you move like a ninja as well. Perfection. It's an open world game, so you can expect a lot of side quests and collectibles. Luckily, although some of the activities are pretty repetitive, the environments and gameplay more than make up for it. The story is a great piece of narrative as well that had me feeling emotional at times. As for the trophy list, it's a 3 out of 10, so easy enough to do. It's fair to say I'd platinum this game again, although compared to the other games in this list, it's probably in the bottom of the pile. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below what games you would all platinum again. I might make a little follow-up video about your choices. For more videos like this one, click on the left panel, or to watch the whole playlist, click on the right panel. Massive thank you to all my patrons and channel members for the constant love and support. And that was it for this one, Farruski Clan. Catch you guys in the next one. GuyFarruski out.